Now, it's well known for its natural lakes and rivers. About 80% of the country's Blue Nile waters flow into the River Nile. But for thousands of years, Ethiopia has not fully exploited this natural resource due to a colonial charter signed in 1929 that gave Egypt the monopoly over those waters' use. CCTV's Girum Chala explores how the Eastern African nation is trying to turn that situation right around.
Defiant of Egypt's historic monopoly over its flow, Ethiopia is pushing ahead with a controversial plan to build a massive dam on the Nile River and harness its use for agriculture. Now, the locals are using Lake Tana and Abai River for growing sorghum, wheat, coffee, cabbage and cat.
Our livelihood is mostly dependent on the income we get from cabbage and cattle. But the income is not always consistent.
Still, the poverty levels of the people around the Blue Nile is hard to ignore. Although farmers have recently turned to commercial farming, they are focusing more on planting food to feed their families. What's more, they are using traditional forms of tilling the land and irrigation.
We benefit from the water by bringing it to our farms using water pumps. We produce carrots and cabbage and send them to the market for a better life. We are producing this without waiting for the rainwater to come.
This Lake Tana is one of the biggest lakes in Ethiopia, comprising an area of 3,600 square kilometers. Now, it's also one of the biggest contributors when it comes to making the river Nile, which the locals call Abai River.
Using the government's scheme of modern agriculture strategies, many have freed themselves from the bonds of poverty over the years. Here, wherever the farmers are producing, the local market absorbs, generating revenue for the farmers.
People here are not economically weak. Here men and women work together for a better change. The only problem could be the financial weaknesses the farmers face, hindering them from growing grains in large scale.
Ethiopia's share of the Nile River is big. Nevertheless, the level of its benefit from this water is marginal. It seems the government and the people are much more dedicated to use the water now more than any other time in history. Case in point is the construction of the giant hydroelectric power generating plant and the large-scale irrigation works on the river. Many agree the proper use of the Nile might bring Ethiopia the much-needed revenue. Girum Chala, CCTV, Bahadar, Northern Ethiopia.